Welcome everyone to our Sunday evening Sutra and Dharma talk on the 48 Great Vows of Amitabha Buddha. So before we go into the Sutra discussion, I'll invite you to please join your hands to your heart center, and we can all recite the Sutra opening words together. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wondrous Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of kalpas. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it. May we understand the true meaning of the Tathagata. Namo pure ocean-wide assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Namo Amituofo, Buddha. So just a quick review for those who may have missed our previous sessions. So this is our third session on the 48 Great Vows. And the first session, we talk about the introduction and a bit of a history on the sutra. And then also we discussed the first to the second vow, which is no evil realms and never fall into evil path. So for people who are born in the Pure Land, first of all, there are no evil realms in the Pure Land, and also one will never again fall into evil path. In the second session, we talk about from vows 3 to 11. So vows 3 and 5 is about how Amitabha Buddha vowed for all of us to have the golden bodies with 32 great marks. Actually, there are much more than 32 great marks. It's just a way of convenience to speak like this, to relate to beings in our world. Amitabha Buddha has infinite great marks. So we'll all look like Amitabha Buddha with the golden bodies in the Pure Land, and there will be no difference in appearance. And also from vows 6 to 11, it's all about how we will attain perfect supernatural abilities or spiritual abilities, such as recollection of all our past lives, to have divine eye that can see, and also divine ear that can hear clearly what's happening in all the worlds in the 10 directions, and to be able to know the minds of others, to be able to teleport, to travel to everywhere in one instant at the mere thought. And all these spiritual abilities are actually to help all sentient beings in other worlds. So they're not used for other, not so good purpose, but rather all these abilities that all the bodhisattvas and Buddhas possess in the Pure Land are all used to help sentient beings in all different worlds. And also they can make offerings to all Buddhas in all worlds. That's why in the Pure Land, beings attain enlightenment so quickly with this kind of abilities due to Amitabha Buddha's great vows. So one can easily visit any Buddha land to study with any Buddha and to attain all kinds of samadhis. So these are what we have talked about before. And if you'd like to know more details, you can visit the lectures we have uploaded on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about vows 12 to 17. And I also put the Chinese here, and remember we are studying actually the compiled version of the Infinite Life Sutra, which Upasaka Xia Lianju compiled all the 5 existing Infinite Life Sutras in Chinese Buddhist canon together into one sutra, which means that we will actually not miss any details. And he did so without actually changing a word, but just compile them all together. So it's really good for our study. So the 12th vow is also very important, and we can all read it out together. When I become a Buddha, all beings born in my land will be free from separation and will have roots of silence. If they're not bound to attain perfect enlightenment and realize great nirvana, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. But the 12th vow is about one will definitely attain perfect enlightenment when one goes to the Pure Land. So Master Shan Dao from the Tang Dynasty, also known as the second patriarch of Chinese Pure Land Buddhism and the actual founder of Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. So Master Shan Dao sort of set up the system for Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. But before Master Shan Dao, there was also Master Huiyuan that promoted the Pure Land Dharma and also other masters. So we regarded him as the second patriarch. And Master Shan Dao said, this vow, and together with 4 other vows, are actually the most important or remarkable, outstanding vows amongst all the 48 great vows. It really sort of catch the essence of Amitabha Buddha's fundamental vows. Now, all the 48 great vows are Amitabha Buddha's fundamental vows, but if we were to pick 5, like the most important ones that really can catch the essence of all the vows, then this is also one of them. And this is also, for us, really, really important. Why do we want to go to the Pure Land? Because Amitabha Buddha promised, vow for that we will definitely attain enlightenment in the Pure Land. And not only enlightenment, here it says perfect enlightenment, great nirvana. So this is talking about the perfect, ultimate, unsurpassed enlightenment, which means full Buddhahood. So we are destined to realize full Buddhahood when we are in the Pure Land. Now, what are the other 4 most important vows? Another one is the 13th vow, which we'll also look at very soon, about infinite light. Amitabha Buddha is the Buddha of infinite light. And also the 15th vow, which we'll also look at today, it's about infinite life. So Amitabha Buddha is the Buddha of infinite life. And the 17th vow, which is to praise from all the Buddhas, and also the 18th vow to be born by 10 recitations. So all this we'll all look at. We'll look at from the 17th vow today, and the next session we'll look at the 18th vow. So all these 5 vows really catch the essence of Amitabha Buddha's fundamental vows. And what's so great about this vow for all of us is that we are guaranteed to attain perfect enlightenment when we are in the Pure Land with no regression. Now, what happens in our world for people who are like, why should we bother to seek rebirth to the Pure Land? Why don't we just stay in the samsara and to keep cultivating? There are some people with this kind of mindset. Because if you keep staying in this world to practice, to cultivate, it will take you really indefinitely long time, maybe infinite lifetimes for you to even to achieve anything. Why so? Because we regress a lot in this world. We will really fall back a lot in our practice. Maybe someday we feel like practice, another day we don't feel like. This world does not actually provide a good environment to support our practice. And also our lifespan in this world is very short. Say if you don't realize enlightenment in this lifetime, and then next time when you reincarnate, you don't even know where you will be. If you reincarnate into like a little dog, a little cat, a ghost ram, maybe the howl ram, there's really no chance for you to actually pick up from where you left off. So we must not have this kind of a wishful thinking. I know some people, they have this kind of thinking. They think, maybe I don't need to go to the Pure Land. I can keep staying in this world and then to maybe realize enlightenment here. Great aspiration, but in reality, really, really difficult, almost impossible for anyone to achieve, particularly during this Dharma ending age. So that's why we must seek rebirth to the Pure Land, because our perfect enlightenment is actually guaranteed there. And there will not be any regression. We will not be able to fall back on our cultivation once we are in the Pure Land. Also due to Amitabha Buddha's vow to create this perfect environment for our cultivation. Now, again, we see all these vows are all for all beings, like all beings born in my land. So this is really the enlightened mind, like what's this true enlightenment, like true awakening. It's that Amitabha Buddha really treats all beings impartially, like without separation. How do you know if someone is enlightened? Maybe you can see, we don't really know, but one sort of a criteria is that, can this person really treat all beings equally? And maybe not equally like in exactly this way, but like, can this being really see the Buddha nature in all beings? Some people are like, how do I know if I'm enlightened? Can you see the Buddha nature in all beings? Can you have compassion for all beings? Do you want to actually help all beings to liberate out of sufferings like Amitabha Buddha and all Buddhas? This is really the true enlightening mind. So all beings born in my land will be free from separation and will have roots of silence. Okay, so see, free from separation. This is the criteria, the standard for a true enlightened being. A very high level of enlightened being. Actually, only at the level of the Buddha, one can be completely free from separation. Like our hearts, they still have separation. They are free from attachment, but they're not free from separation. Bodhisattvas also have separation, but the higher the level of enlightened beings, the less separation one has. At the level of the Buddha, one is totally free from all separation whatsoever. I remember the full title of this compiled version of the sutra is called Mahayana, which means a great vehicle, infinite life, adornment, purity, impartiality. Right? Free from separation means impartial. From the Buddha's mind, the Buddha treats all beings impartially. There's no difference between you and me and he and she in the eyes of the Buddha. That's how Buddha can see the truth. Now in our world, we have a lot of man-made separation, mind-made separation. And that's why we can't see the truth because of our attachment, our separation. What's separation? Duality, right and wrong, good and bad. I'm so right, you are so wrong. Because of this duality, I am I, you are you, we are different, we look different, blah, blah, blah. Because of all this duality, all this separation, so it creates a lot of sufferings, afflictions, conflicts in our world. Why people enter into war, also because of separation. And we cannot really see the oneness in all beings and all things. We cannot see the Buddha nature in all beings and all things. And hence we suffer. Attachment and separation are the fundamental afflictions for all human beings in this world. In other words, if they are unenlightened beings, most likely because of their attachment and separation. And because of these two things, we cannot really see the truth as it is. And we cannot see the emptiness of all phenomena. Now, to say free from separation doesn't mean that there isn't good and bad, right? But you don't need to actually go and label it. You don't need to sort of distinguish. It doesn't mean that enlightened beings are stupid, they don't know. But they don't need to go and like us, we're attached to this separation, we grasp on this separation. They simply see things as they are without entering into any sort of a duality, arguments, conflicts, etc. Even sometimes when you think you're so right, maybe other people are wrong. Maybe it is true, say objectively, but you don't need to grasp on this. If you can just perceive things as they are, then you will not have afflictions. To be attached to our own opinions, to be attached to, I'm right, you are wrong. This can also generate afflictions. So beings in the Pure Land, they are all free from separation and will have roots of silence. What does roots of silence mean? So when we see this word in Buddhism, like roots, immediately we think of the 6 roots in Buddhism, like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And this is how we come into interact with the world. And basically all these roots are like gates to the world. It kind of like made up our world. In silence, what's silence? Roots of silence. Silence means that the afflictions become silent. So there's no more afflictions. One becomes absolutely free from afflictions. So that's what also enlightened beings are like. They don't have afflictions, unlike us. We have many afflictions when we see things that we dislike, we give up afflictions. We don't like this, etc. Or if we see things that we love, again, afflictions. Or maybe we want to get it, we are attached, etc. When we hear noises we don't like, afflictions. All these afflictions due to all this, when our 6 roots come into contact with the external environment and also with our internal thought. But beings in the Pure Land are not like that. Enlightened beings are not like that. They have roots of silence, which means that they also have these 6 roots like us, except these roots, they will not generate afflictions. And the functions of them using these roots is to help sentient beings to be awakened, but not to generate afflictions. And now we just use them in the wrong direction, in the wrong way. So through Nianfo can help us attain peace and silence slowly, silence of our afflictions. So the more we Nianfo single-heartedly with a sincere heart, and the less we will be sort of bothered by maybe what's going on in our mind, the less we will be maybe afflicted or affected by what's going on externally. The less we'll be attached, the less we'll be separated. We cannot actually be completely free from separation. In this world, very, very hard. Only a Buddha can do that. We are very far from there yet. We cannot even be free from our attachment like the Arhat, let alone to say free from separation. But what we can do is through Nianfo practice, at least it can help us maybe just reduce a little bit of our attachment, reduce a little bit of our separation. When we recite the name of Amitabha Buddha, we also see the Buddha nature in others. It also help us to activate our own Buddha nature, which is the same and within all beings. Through this, it may help us, hopefully, to reduce our separation, to reduce our afflictions, and to help us attain peace and happiness. So if they're not bound to attain perfect enlightenment and realize great nirvana, now here, the key word is perfect enlightenment, great nirvana. It's not only saying enlightenment or nirvana. When we say enlightenment, it can mean so many different levels of enlightenment. When we say nirvana, our heart also attains nirvana, but different. And this is talking about perfect enlightenment and great nirvana, final Buddhahood. So you are all bound to attain full Buddhahood when you are in the Pure Land. This is our security. Amitabha Buddha already give us this insurance. When we are in the Pure Land, you don't need to worry about, but I have such heavy karmic obstacles, and I'm so lazy, I'm so stupid. How can I realize Buddhahood? You don't need to worry when you are there, okay? Amitabha Buddha will take care of that from them on. Whether you are like so lazy in the Pure Land or you don't even practice anything. By the way, that's not impossible. That kind of environment, you will never be able to be lazy. Like you will not give rise to that kind of thought when you are there. So it's not possible. And even when you're drinking water from the 7 jewel lotus pond, you're just walking on the street, you can become enlightened like that. It's just inconceivable. So our full Buddhahood is actually guaranteed when we are there. This is really the other power. Really, when we are in the Pure Land, there isn't so much self-effort practice because of the environment, the supported environment by all the great teachers and masters. We say ascended master, perfect teachers, perfect environment. Everything we do in the Pure Land will help us become enlightened. Inconceivable state, inconceivable environment that we can't really comprehend at the moment, but we just know that we just need to trust our full Buddhahood. It's absolutely guaranteed. And remember, in the Pure Land, we have infinite life. So we will definitely attain Buddhahood in one lifetime because infinite life. So in Buddhism, we sometimes also distinguish Dharma as the sudden enlightenment or the gradual enlightenment. So this Pure Land Dharma can also be said to be called a sudden enlightenment because you will realize Buddhahood in one lifetime. Next vow. When I become a Buddha, my light will be infinite, shining in all directions, surpassing that of all the Buddhas, 1,000 trillion times brighter than the sun and the moon. If there are sentient beings who see my light shining and touching their bodies, they will attain peace and happiness, and they will do good deeds with a compassionate heart, and they will all come to my land. If this cannot be achieved, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. So vow 13 is about vow of infinite light. And the 14th vow is about vow of peace and happiness at the touch of light. Now, this vow is also one of the most important vows. Right? Remember, Amitabha Buddha, the name means that he is the Buddha of infinite light. And this is reflected in this vow. Not only that, he said his light will be infinite, shining in all directions, and even surpassing that of all Buddhas, surpassing all Buddhas. So Shakyamuni Buddha also praised Amitabha Buddha in the Infinite Life Sutra as the king of all Buddhas. So why the Buddhas even have competition? How come Amitabha Buddha's light surpass that of all Buddhas? So when we talk about Buddha's light, usually there are two kinds of light. One is constant light. Another is emitting light. So constant light means that the light will always stay with the Buddha. When Shakyamuni Buddha came into our world, he also has this constant light around him, around his body. Not so much, because it was also not so much like his vows when he was in the causal ground, which we will explain a little bit. This is different. Shakyamuni Buddha's constant light, it's different from Amitabha Buddha's constant light due to the differences in their vows. The second kind of light is the emitting light of the Buddha. So Buddha can emit all kinds of lights and also from particular parts of their bodies. For instance, in the sutras, particularly in Mahayana sutras, like the Lotus Sutra, like the Infinite Life Sutra, like the Siddhigarbha Sutra, like the Avatasangha Sutra, before Shakyamuni Buddha is going to speak about really important things, such as the Infinite Life Sutra. At the beginning of the Infinite Life Sutra, it emits great light. And then Ananda saw this great light, and Ananda asked, "Oh, Buddha, who are you actually mindful of at this time? Why you emit such wonderful light that I have never seen?" So all Buddhas can actually all emit lights that shine in all directions. There's actually no difference between when the Buddha emits lights. So here it's actually talking about the constant light of the Buddha. Amitabha Buddha doesn't need to emit any light. His constant light is just already infinite due to his great vows. Whereas when Shakyamuni Buddha comes to our world, he also has constant light. And maybe some ordinary beings cannot see. This constant light in the sutra, it tells us in Chinese, it's about 丈六, which is equivalent to maybe over 5 meters. And that's his constant light for his Nimanakaya. Nimanakaya means transformation body when he comes to this world. And it's also due to really the differences in the vows of the Buddhas in the causal ground. What's the causal ground? When we talk about bodhisattvas become Buddhas, the causal ground is when they practice the bodhisattva practice before they realize Buddhahood. Buddhahood is like the fruit ground and the causal ground. So like we said in the first session, all the Buddhas and bodhisattvas, they have different vows. And it's due to the differences in these vows. So the light is also different for the Buddha. And also the bodies that they show us, it's also different. The Sabhagakaya, the Nimanakayas are different. I remember 3 types of the bodies for the Buddhas. Dhammakaya, the Buddha's body, which exists in everywhere, which is formless, but also appear in all forms. You can also understand this as the Buddha nature, that it's everywhere. But we talk about it as the Dhamma body, the functionality of that. And then also the Sabhagakaya is known as the rewards body. So rewards body is when they cultivate for countless eons to cultivate blessings, merit, and wisdom. And because of that, they need to show something for us so we can actually be aspired to want to also practice like them. So that's the rewards body. The rewards body is like the manifestation from all the great merit, blessings, virtues, wisdom that they have cultivated. And usually when Buddhas in the Pure Land, they show their rewards body. The rewards body, how do they look like? A little bit like, but also, still very different. When we see the statues, some Buddha statues in temples, in Chinese temple, are really huge statues. They look different, like with the lotus, with really gorgeous garments, lotus, flowers, all kinds of adornments. So they look a bit like that. But of course, when we see the rewards bodies, it will be a billionfold better than just the statues in our world. But just to give an idea, what does rewards bodies actually look like? And the rewards bodies of the Buddhas, they can also look different, again, due to the Buddha's vows. For instance, Amitabha Buddha's rewards body, if we go to the Pure Land, we will see Amitabha Buddha is actually standing. And how do we know that? Because many people have also seen Amitabha Buddha when Amitabha Buddha comes to receive them. And also in the sutras, it's also described Amitabha Buddha is actually standing in the Pure Land to receive all the beings from all different directions. Whereas Shakyamuni Buddha's rewards body is actually not standing. Many Buddhas, they're not standing. Usually maybe they're sitting in meditation. When you see statues of Buddhas, usually they're sitting. It's really rare we see actually a standing Buddha. But Amitabha Buddha has the vow to really actively receive all beings. So he's standing in the Pure Land to welcome us. And the Nirmanakaya, it's also different. Nirmanakaya is known as the transformation body, where the Buddhas, they can transform into all kinds of bodies, whatever you like to see, in all different worlds to help save sentient beings. So here we are actually talking about the Nirmanakaya of the constant light of the Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. In fact, for Amitabha Buddha, all the three bodies are also one body for all Buddhas as well. We talk about them like three, but the essence is also one. And when we talk about surpassing that of all Buddhas, we're talking about the constant light of the transformation body of Amitabha Buddha. When he showed us the transformation body in different worlds to help save sentient beings, his constant light is actually infinite. Because if we were to talk about the Dhammakaya, there is actually no such thing of surpassing all the Buddhas. All the Buddhas is the same. If we talk about also the constant light for the rewards body, Sabbakakaya, it's also the same. But the constant light for the transformation body can be different between all the Buddhas due to the different vows that they made in the causal ground. So how infinite is this light? A metaphor here, 1,000 trillion times brighter than the sun and the moon. Now here to us, it's maybe too much. We cannot even possibly imagine. And to us human beings in our world already, the sun is already too bright. We cannot possibly conceive what does it even mean to say 1,000 trillion times brighter than the sun and the moon? That totally just burned us up. No, right? Buddha's light has no side effect, unlike the sun. A sun's light in our world, we may get sunburned, if we are exposed to the sun too much. And also there are some not so good things from the sunlight that may even give us a skin cancer, etc. Amitabha Buddha's light is not like that. Although it's trillion times brighter than the sun and the moon, but there's absolutely no side effect. There could only be positive side effects when we are being touched, when we see the light of Amitabha Buddha. The next question is, where is the light? If it's so bright, why we don't see? If you don't see, it's not Amitabha Buddha's problem. It's really our problem. Now currently we don't see the light of the Buddha because maybe we're not so resonating with the heart of the Buddha because we don't think about the Buddha too much. We only maybe think about our afflictions. It's a bit like a blind man complaining, where is the sunlight, like I don't see the sunlight. The sun keeps shining on a blind person, but a blind person cannot see, or maybe cannot even feel. So we are kind of a little bit like that, again, due to our ignorance and really being blocked by our attachment and our separation, not being mindful of the Buddha. Right? If you want to see or feel Amitabha Buddha's light, what you can do is really to Nianfo single-heartedly, with a sincere heart, and you will feel, if it's for long enough. This happened actually for some members in our Lotus family, where they had also shared their Nianfo experience about their really feeling the presence of Amitabha Buddha. And I remember a Lotus family member from Spain, and he talked about, whenever he Nianfo, he, really feel this great bright light of Amitabha Buddha. Right? He's really Nianfo with his heart, really single-heartedly Nianfo, and really resonating with the heart of Amitabha Buddha. So some people, they may feel this stronger than others. For people who maybe do not feel so much yet, don't worry. Also, don't be so discouraged. Rest assured, it's here. It's actually shining on us. If it's shining in all directions, in all worlds, it definitely includes us. We're not missing out of anything, but it's just we need to turn the switch on. We need to keep Nianfo single-heartedly, with a pure heart. Let me put it this way, and then you will definitely feel. Maybe you will not see. To see the light, maybe for some people when they Nianfo, they may see Amitabha Buddha and then they can see the light. But maybe you can feel the light of Amitabha Buddha. The light of Amitabha Buddha is always shining on us, touching our heart. Whether we feel or not feel, it's not because of the Buddha, it really depends on us. So in the Visualization Sutra, it talks about how so in the Pure Land, Amitabha Buddha used light to teach and to help sentient beings. When we're being received by Amitabha Buddha, we're also seeing the light of Amitabha Buddha received by his light. And also when we are in the Pure Land, it's different from our world where we use words, language, mouth to speak about the Dharma, right? In the Pure Land, it's not like that. When you go there, Amitabha Buddha's light shine on you, and instantly you understand. Instantly you become enlightened. Instantly you realize all kinds of samadhis. So it's different. Amitabha Buddha used light as the medium to teach and help sentient beings. So in the Visualization Sutra, it talks about Amitabha Buddha. If you want to visualize Amitabha Buddha, there are methods. They're really detailed methods. It talks about how Amitabha Buddha has 84,000 marks. Actually infinite great marks. And within each mark, there is 84,000 great signs. Within each sign emits 84,000 rays of light. Within each of rays of light shines on all Nianfo practitioners everywhere in the 10 directions. So the more we Nianfo, the more stronger we'll feel the light of Amitabha Buddha. The more our heart resonates with the heart of Amitabha Buddha, when our heart becomes open, when we have more compassion towards all beings, you will definitely feel the light of Amitabha Buddha that's also within you. So light, it also has another meaning, which means a wisdom, perfect wisdom of shunyata, of emptiness, prajna paramita. So here, the infinite light also means that Amitabha Buddha has it embodied this light of perfect wisdom. So in the Infinite Life Sutra, we see Amitabha Buddha has 12 other different names, which are all has to do with light. So in the future, when we study the Infinite Life Sutra in more details, we'll also go through all these different names of Amitabha Buddha, which all has to do with light. So he's really the Buddha of infinite light. And light also signifies space. So, which means if Amitabha Buddha's light is infinite, shining in all directions, then he is really filled in all space. And we're talking about the Dharma body here. So, whereas next we're going to talk about life. Life means time. So, time and space make up the whole of the universe. or in Buddhism, we call it the Dharma realm, which is the space of the Dharma realm, the scope of the Dharma realm is much more greater than what we currently know as the universe. And the universe that we currently know in our world, it's more like just a mere fine mote of dust in the Dharma realm in Buddhism. So it means the entire Dharma realm, all in the name of Amitabha Buddha. Infinite light, infinite life, infinite space, infinite time. Right? That's our true essence of who we really are. That's also our Buddha nature. So for those who can see and feel the light touching their bodies, there are some people with also near-death experience. They have experienced this. Maybe they may not actually see Amitabha Buddha, but they feel this light like really touching their bodies and what they will attain. And actually from our Pure Land podcast, a few practitioners also share similar experiences like that. So they will attain peace and happiness, of course. And what will they do? They will do good deeds with a compassionate heart. And what does good deeds mean? Good deeds mean that they will refrain from evil and practice good. And also they will also actively help other beings, particularly to share this meaningful practice with a compassionate heart. And then they will all come to my land. So Amitabha Buddha is saying that for those beings with this kind of experience, you see the light shining, touching their bodies, they will definitely attain peace and happiness. They will also do good deeds with a compassionate heart, and then they will all come to my land, guaranteed, being born in the Pure Land. Okay, for those of you who may I don't feel so much of the light of Amitabha Buddha, again, go and kneel for more with a sincere heart. Eventually you'll feel, and once you feel that, your rebirth is guaranteed. Amitabha Buddha says here. Okay, next. When I become a Buddha, my lifespan is infinite. Now, just now we talk about infinite light. And of course, next we're going to talk about infinite life. So there are innumerable sound hearers, heavenly beings, and humans in my land, whose lives are also immeasurable. If all sentient beings in the 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds become practical Buddhas, calculate altogether for over hundreds of thousands of kalpas, if they can know the numbers, may I not realize perfect enlightenment. So the 15th vow is the vow of infinite life, and the 16th vow is the vow of countless sound hearers. So again, Amitabha Buddha is known as the Buddha of infinite life. And also talking about the Nirmanakaya here, because with Dhammakaya, there is no beginning, no end, right? No birth, no death. Of course, it's infinite already. You don't need to say it. All Buddhas, including even us, our Buddha nature, our Dhamma body is actually already infinite life. No birth, no death means infinite. Why we don't use the word eternal so much? Because when you say eternal, it may signify there's a beginning and then there's like no end. But the truth is that there's no beginning, no end, no birth, no death, like the Heart Sutra says. It's uncreated, okay? The true essence of who we are is actually not created by anything or anyone or God, etc. It is as it is. Inconceivable, right? Difficult for us to comprehend at the moment, but once we go to the Pure Land, we'll know. And also the Sabakakaya, the rewards body, has a beginning but no end. So you can say the Sabakakaya is eternal. This is the same for all Buddhas. So here, Amitabha Buddha emphasized my lifespan is infinite. It's more talking about, again, the Nirmanakaya, the transformation body. It's also infinite. Buddhas, when they transform into other worlds to help teach sentient beings, they can really actually stay for a long, long time. Like Shakyamuni Buddha in our world actually did not stay for so long, like 80 years, and then he decided to just disappear for a while. It's not because he cannot stay for longer, he can. Even a great aha has the ability to keep their physical body, yes, this vulnerable flesh physical body for one great kappa if they want. There are still arhats from the time of Shakyamuni Buddha still living in our world, but we don't really know or can see where they are. But there are beings like that. So they can actually keep the physical body to live in the world for a long time. Like even for arhat, they can do that for one great kappa. What says about Shakyamuni Buddha? But why he decided to enter paranirvana at 80? Initially, he was thinking about maybe doing it at 100, but he really decided to enter paranirvana early, also because he observed that the causes and conditions for him to be here, there's actually no need. His disciples can carry out his work for the rest of the period. There was no need for him to stay too long in the Saha world. And also because the average lifespan in our world is actually not so long, even 80 years considered, quite a good life. Imagine if Shakyamuni Buddha stay in our world, like even like say till now, 2,600 years later, and without even entering into paranirvana, what will happen? Like people in this world, they will not want to learn about the Dharma. They will want to know, how could someone live for so long? They would want to learn about, maybe all this so-called spiritual abilities instead of wanting to learn the real Dharma. And then they will all, not want to learn about impermanence, etc. So Shakyamuni Buddha entered into paranirvana earlier. It's also to remind beings of impermanence here. And also because of the average lifespan of human beings on earth, it's like that. So there's no need for him to demonstrate that kind of abilities. But Buddha has the ability to stay in the world for a very long time. And Amitabha Buddha says here, he could do it for infinite life if necessary. Of course, when they come to our world, it's not necessary for them to do it for infinite life. Like people will be like, go crazy if they see someone like that. So it's not necessary. Usually they might just come into our world. For instance, like Master Shanda or like Master Yongming Yanshou. Like they just act out like an ordinary being. And then they, with a sort of an average lifespan, and then they go, yeah. It's easier for them to help beings in our world here. But here, Amitabha Buddha vowed that his lifespan is infinite, even for the Nimanakaya, for the transformation body, which means that Amitabha Buddha can help save infinite beings in all different worlds. So we can always rely on him. And when we go to the Pure Land, you don't need to worry about, what if when I go there, Amitabha Buddha enter into paranirvana? Like you really do not need to worry anything like that. Why is that? When we talk about, see how infinite the infinite lifespan actually is. There's an example for us to sort of imagine a little bit. Oh, not only that his life is infinite, also there are innumerable sound hearers. So sound hearers are Shivakas, which means those who hear the Buddha speak about the Four Noble Truths and to realize enlightenment. At the highest level, it's Arhat. So innumerable sound hearers, heavenly beings and humans in my land, whose lives are also immeasurable. So all of us, all beings who go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land will also share the infinite life, right, which we all know. And it's totally reassured. Amitabha Buddha reassured us in this vow. And one may ask, isn't the Pure Land the Mahayana domain? Right? Shouldn't the Pure Land be just filled with bodhisattvas? Yes, but all the beings who enter into the Pure Land will all become bodhisattvas, which means that we'll all generate bodhicitta to help all beings in all worlds. But this is more talking about their state of mind or their position or their identity before they enter into the Pure Land. So sound hearers, heavenly beings, humans. So this is before. And then once we all go into the Pure Land, we'll all become bodhisattvas. So how infinite is this infinite lifespan? Can we imagine? If all sentient beings in the 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds become Pachika Buddhas, calculate all together for over hundreds of thousands of kalpas, if they can know the numbers, may I not realize perfect enlightenment. So two things the Buddha is talking about here. First of all, if they can even know by how long Amitabha Buddha's lifespan and all the beings' lifespan there in the Pure Land, Amitabha Buddha will not realize Buddhahood. And the second thing is that if they can know how many beings are actually in the Pure Land, may I not realize Buddhahood. A little bit of a Buddhist terminologies here. So 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds. What's that? And sometimes you also see the translation as the 3,000 great thousand world system. It's a direct translation from the Chinese, or trichiliocosm. So this is a world system that in Buddhism we talk about. So one trichiliocosm, or 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds, is actually the teaching range of Shakyamuni Buddha, also known as the Asaha world. So one small world, how is this made up of? Why is it called the 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds? So one small world system in Buddhism has one sun and a moon rotating around it, with the center being Mount Meru, which we can't really see, whereas Mount Meru is actually not on Earth. And plus 10 levels of heavens. So maybe let's just assume maybe the Buddha could be even just talking about our solar system with a sun and a moon rotating around it. There's also other people saying it could be talking about the galaxy. So anyway, we just assume a smaller unit, maybe a small world. In Buddhism, it's about a solar system. And then 1,000 of these worlds are called the middle thousands of worlds. And the thousands of these middle thousands of worlds are called the great thousand world system. So all these are together called the 3,000 clusters of thousand world system. It's not because there are only 3,000 of worlds, really because of 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds. So anyway, so this is the world system that the Buddhists talk about. So imagine all the beings in all this, 3,000 clusters of thousands of worlds all become Pachika Buddhas. And what's Pachika Buddha we explained before are those beings who realize enlightenment independently, they're totally by themselves without the teacher. How do they realize enlightenment? Is through the observation of the 12 dependent links of origination. For those who want to know, you can Google it a little bit more. So they're also known as the alone Buddha. So their intelligence or wisdom and ability is higher than arhats. Arhats, they need a teacher to show them the Four Noble Truths, etc., and then to realize enlightenment. Whereas Pachika Buddhas, they don't need a teacher. They just observe the 12 links of dependent origination, which is the sort of the nature of law, how things work. And then they realize enlightenment like that. But also unlike the Bodhisattva, they also don't really generate bodhicitta much. And for them, it's more about self-liberation, but still with great abilities, great spiritual powers. So imagine all the beings in all these worlds all become Pachika Buddhas, and they calculate all together with their great spiritual abilities and powers. For how long? For over hundreds of thousands of kalpas. I remember we talk about one great kalpa is about 1.3 billion years, right? For all this incredibly long time, still they will not be able to know the numbers, right? So the lifespan is really infinite. And then some people are like, oh, but we heard from the sutra that they also talk about Amitabha Buddha will one day enter into parinirvana, and then Guan Yin will become a Buddha. And then after Guan Yin enter into parinirvana, Da Shizhi Pusa, Bodhisattva Mahasamapapta, will become a Buddha in the Pure Land. Okay, this you really don't need to be concerned about or worry about at all, because how long is Amitabha Buddha's lifespan? When will Guan Yin actually realize Buddhahood in the Pure Land? You cannot calculate, you cannot know. Use this kind of method. It's inconceivable. Yes, eventually, really after inconceivably infinite lifetime, Amitabha Buddha will enter parinirvana, quote unquote, actually enter parinirvana, and then Guan Yin will realize Buddhahood in the Pure Land instantly, actually. There is no sort of a lapping time in between, unlike our world when Shakyamuni Buddha entered into parinirvana and then Maitreya Buddha will only come down after like maybe 5.67 billion years or so. Right? There's a tremendously long gap where there was no Buddha living in this world. In the Pure Land is different. As soon as Amitabha Buddha entered into Parinirvana, Guan Yin instantly realized Buddhahood. And as soon as Guan Yin realized Buddhahood in the Pure Land will be much, much better. And for those who may be curious, right, when Guan Yin realized Buddhahood, his name will be called in the Pure Land. In Chinese, it's 普光功德山王如来. So English, it's like Universal Light, King of Merit, Mountain Tathagata. And then the Pure Land of ultimate bliss will be transformed into the name of 普及众宝庄严世界, or in English, it's a bit like Universal All Treasures Adornment World. So it's like a change of dynasty a little bit. The Pure Land will be even billion-fold better than what it is now when Guan Yin realized Buddhahood. But again, we don't need to know. We don't even know how long it will be. It's most likely we will actually realize Buddhahood much sooner, even before Guan Yin realized Buddhahood in the Pure Land. And after Guan Yin realized Buddhahood, and again also passed infinite lifetime, eventually Mahasammaprapta Bodhisattva will also realize Buddhahood in the Pure Land, and also instantly. And instantly that land will also be better than what is currently now, and also better than the previous one. So this is really inconceivable. And also what's more inconceivable is that after Mahasammaprapta, it is said, after Mahasammaprapta realized Buddhahood in the Pure Land, he will never enter into Parinirvana. He will always be there. And what's also inconceivable, just so many infinite inconceivable states, when we talk about the Buddha state, is that when Guan Yin realized Buddhahood in the Pure Land, for those beings who have deep connection with Amitabha Buddha, they will still see Amitabha Buddha teaching in the Pure Land. They will not see Amitabha Buddha enter Parinirvana. It's only for those beings who have maybe greater connection with Guan Yin, then they see, oh, Guan Yin actually took over, and then, you know, I love Guan Yin so much, I go to her land. So it's like that. So it's like dimensions, space, all this can be overlapped. Like for beings with deep karma with Amitabha Buddha, which is like all of us, we'll always see Amitabha Buddha also in the Pure Land teaching sentient beings. So Buddha's inconceivable state, we cannot really comprehend at the moment with our really limited, ordinary, enlightened mind. When we are there, we will know much better. So this name of Amitabha Buddha really is the inconceivable state of liberation, right, which we studied a little bit before when we studied the practices and vows of Bodhisattva Samadabhadra. And now, like I talk about now in the temple, we are every day also reading the Avatamsaka Sutra. The Avatamsaka Sutra, it's all about the inconceivable state of the Buddha, where it talks about all these infinite Buddhas and infinite worlds, and it really gives really a lot of details in all these different worlds, how they're like, what the Buddha's names are, etc. All types of existence of all different types of beings in all different worlds. It's really inconceivable, the Buddha state. So for those of us, if we want to realize this inconceivable state of liberation, we want to attain a perfect wisdom and blessings. Perfect wisdom can be infinite light, and blessings is infinite life. And what do we need to do? Nianfo, recite the name of Amitabha Buddha. Just this name itself already carries this infinite merit, perfect wisdom and perfect blessings. Okay, final vow for tonight. When I become a Buddha, if countless Buddhas from infinite lands of the worlds of the 10 directions do not all praise my name and speak of the goodness of my land of merit, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. So the 17th vow is about praising from all the Buddhas. Amitabha Buddha has really well thought after. He really thought of, considered all these details when he created the Pure Land. Right? Some people are like, how do you know the sutras are real, etc.? People in our world with a lot of doubt. You actually, when you really study all the 48 great vows, when you really examined all the details in the vows, you will actually realize you need to be a Buddha in order to think of all of this. And you need to be minimum an enlightened being in order to even think of content like this. And even enlightened being cannot think so perfectly. You actually need to be a Buddha to really consider all aspects and to also summarize in such a succinct way for people to understand. All these vows, they're not made lightly. If you ask any sort of fictional writers in our world, maybe with great imagination, maybe J.K. Rowling or others, right? They cannot think of things like that because they're not enlightened. This state of mind does not allow them even to think of things like that. If we look at really the literature in our world, people say, oh, maybe, Mahayana sutras are made up like this. You need to be a Buddha to actually make up these things. An ordinary being cannot, no way in their mind to think about this. They will not even think for the good for all sentient beings. If we look at really the literature, fictions, etc., novels in our world, it's all about separation. It's all about duality, a lot about conflicts, etc. Because of separation, because of attachment. Why? Because the authors are not enlightened. So that's all they think about in their mind, right? But for the Buddhas, look, Amitabha Buddha, each vow is for the good of all beings. What kind of compassion is that? Infinite compassion that only an enlightened being has. We may say we also have compassion, but we need to be honest. Our compassion is very actually limited. It does not really extend to all beings. Even if we say we want to have compassion for all beings, but do we really, have compassion for maybe even just not all beings, our friends and families, the people around us? Can we have compassion? Can we have understanding? Do we want to help all the people just around us, all the people we know? We don't even say all beings, right? So Amitabha Buddha has really well thought after when he constructed his Pure Land. All these vows are really carefully thought of. He thought of absolutely every little details that we can just easily miss, right? Say if Amitabha Buddha think, oh, I need to create really the best land out of all the lands and the easiest way to help save sentient beings. But if he did not think, how can I actually going to promote this? Then we will not be able to know. How do beings in our Saha world be able to know about Amitabha Buddha? Because Amitabha Buddha already in his causal ground, when he was just Bodhisattva Dharma storehouse, he thought about this. Okay, I need people to help me promote. And what kind of people is the best? What kind of beings are the most suitable, right, to help me promote about this Dharma? Not arhats yet. Arhats do not understand the level of the Buddha, not even bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas can only understand bodhisattvas. The best way is to get all the Buddhas from all the worlds to help me promote this. And how to promote? To praise my name and speak the goodness of my land of merit. For instance, they can maybe explore the Pure Land Sutras. They can praise the Pure Land Dharma. They can teach and praise the Nianfo method. They can praise and protect Nianfo practitioners from all different worlds. Also, Shakyamuni Buddha in our world promotes this. But for Shakyamuni Buddha telling us about this, we will not be able to know, right? We don't know about Amitabha Buddha, but for Shakyamuni Buddha actually tirelessly expounding the Pure Land method, the Pure Land Dharma. Although the system of the Pure Land Dharma came in later, but if we look at in all these Mahayana sutras, particularly in these big sutras, like the Lotus Sutra, apart from all these Pure Land sutras, like the Avatamsaka Sutra, etc., all the sutras all mention Amitabha Buddha here and there. And what Shakyamuni Buddha, in fact, comes into our world, what he really wants to teach sentient beings is actually this. A lot of people may not believe, it's really hard to believe. Shakyamuni Buddha already said in the Amitabha Sutra, hard to believe Dharma. And not only that, what's even hard to believe? Right? A bit of secret. It's actually not a secret, but it's just a lot of people don't know, including a lot of Buddhists, including a lot of Mahayana Buddhists, including a lot of Pure Land Buddhists don't even know, is that Shakyamuni Buddha actually, from countless eons ago, realized Buddhahood through the Nianfo method, Nianfo practice. And this is the same for also many other Buddhas in many Buddha lands. And this is the same method that Bodhisattva Manjushri used to realize Buddhahood from countless eons ago. And also the same for Bodhisattva Mahasammaprapta. So in fact, already a lot of Buddhas realized Buddhahood because of Amitabha recitation, because of the Nianfo method. And this includes Shakyamuni Buddha. And Shakyamuni Buddha told us in the Amitabha Sutra, which we're going to look at after the Infinite Life Sutra. And Shakyamuni Buddha in the Amitabha Sutra also told us that all the Buddhas from all the worlds in the 10 directions all praise Amitabha Buddha. In the Amitabha Sutra, it even gives out the names, which Buddhas praise, from this direction, etc., from that direction, etc. So this also, of course, includes Medicine Buddha. Remember, we talked about the first lecture that Medicine Buddha has 12 fundamental vows in the fundamental vows of Medicine Buddha. And in addition to those 12 fundamental vows, in the fundamental vow of Medicine Buddha, he also mentioned for beings who want to seek rebirth to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, if they recite my name, if you have deep karmic connection with Medicine Buddha, maybe you prefer to recite the name of Medicine Buddha, but somehow you want to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land because you also heard, it's the easiest and fastest for me to realize Buddhahood. Medicine Buddha will also assist you at the time of death. He will send 8 great bodhisattvas to accompany you, to guide you to the Pure Land. Right? And this is include the future Maitreya Buddha. Some people are like, why don't we ascend to the inner court of the heaven, right? To see Maitreya Bodhisattva, and then in the future we come down with Maitreya Bodhisattva to share the Dharma. But Maitreya Bodhisattva in the future, Maitreya Buddha will also tell you to Nianfo to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. So Buddhas do not have jealousy, right? No separation, no jealousy, no attachment. All of them have the same wish, right? Same desire, same heart, is that they want all of us to realize Buddhahood ASAP, right? To be like them ASAP. So they will definitely also recommend you the easiest way, the fastest way, the fastest and easiest, most effective method to realize Buddhahood. That is to recite the name of Amitabha Buddha to Nianfo. That is also, in fact, how Shakyamuni Buddha realized Buddhahood countless eons ago. It's not the first time Shakyamuni Buddha came to our world and to realize enlightenment. This is just a show, a performance by Shakyamuni Buddha. In the Lotus Sutra, we knew that already from countless eons. We cannot even imagine how long ago. Right? There was a metaphor in the Lotus Sutra. For those who are interested, I will not talk about it in details. You can go and read it. I think I forgot exactly which chapter, but the chapter name is called The Lifespan of Shakyamuni Buddha. Maybe chapter 16 or something. So you can go and read that chapter then to know that actually Shakyamuni Buddha already from countless eons ago, which we cannot imagine how long ago, already realized Buddhahood. And he has, from then on, come to the Saha world or to be in the Saha world for many times. And he has already also done this performance many times. In one sutra, it said 8,000 times he come to the Saha world to perform this. So it's not the first time he realized enlightenment. And he told us also in the Amitabha Sutra and also in other sutras that he realized enlightenment through exactly this Nianfo method. And this is the same for many other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So this is incredible that today we actually get to study this method, and eventually we'll also realize Buddhahood to be like Amitabha Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and all Buddhas in the 10 directions, to really, truly realize the truth of life and the universe, the true essence of who we are, which is infinite light, infinite life, infinite blessings, infinite abundance, infinite everything, whatever you want. So if you think about this really every day, when you Nianfo, we should really totally laugh so much. Really sometimes I'm like that when I think about, oh my God, not my God, oh my Buddha, right? When I Nianfo, I think about, wow, I'm gonna go to the Pure Land, I'm gonna be like this and that. This is just so incredible. And really we should feel with so much joy and bliss. For Pure Land practitioners, I really have deep faith in the Dharma when we think about what we're gonna get in the Pure Land, what's in store for us when we are in the Pure Land. Then our life in this world should also be, every day we should really live in joy and bliss. It's really a little bit like, this is also from Master Denshan's Dharma talk, you actually win the biggest ever lottery in history. We really have won the biggest lottery in the cycle of samsara to be able to encounter the Dharma, to particularly the Pure Land Dharma, to believe in it, to Nianfo, and vow to seek rebirth. You are really the winner in the cycle of samsara. No one will actually have more blessings than you when you go to the Pure Land and realize Buddhahood. Really, what could be better than being a Buddha that can be in all worlds instantly and have this great spiritual powers and abilities, and to really understand fully the truth of life in the universe. Many people, they are dying to know about this, but they don't have the means. Also not enough good karma to really encounter the Dharma. So when we think about this every day, we should be so filled with joy and bliss, truly. You should really let go of all your afflictions and worries, etc. And just be mindful of the Buddha, be mindful of what the Buddha told us in the sutra, be mindful of the Pure Land. Then you will really live a very happy life while you're here, and an even more joyous, inconceivably blissful life when we are in the Pure Land. Okay, so that's the end of our lecture for tonight. And let's do the merit transfer together. May the resulting merit and virtue adorn the Buddha's Pure Land, repay the four great kindnesses above, and relieve the suffering of those in the three evil path. May those who see and hear this all generate the unsurpassed bodhicitta. When this retribution body comes to an end, be reborn in the land of the ultimate bliss. So we transfer the merit to all beings in the entire Dharma ranks. May all beings hear the name of Amitabha Buddha and be born in the Pure Land. Namo Amituofo Buddha. Namo Amituofo. Okay, thank you everyone for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next time.